Sky Squad, we are back in the building, and of course, we are talking basketball wives. This is the finale, so let me look on my good YouTube TV app. They need to be y'all YouTube TV. Y'all need to sponsor your boy, okay? Because I really do be giving y'all the basketball wives and the love and hip hop synopses coming directly from the YouTube TV or whatever like that. Anyway, I wouldn't have to do that if VH1 would send over that screener, okay? Because I'm not going to be here next week to watch the Basketball Wives reunion. So I need it now so I can have it ready before I go, right? But BET, VH1, MTV, Paramount, y'all know what to do. Hit me in the email, okay? So with that being said, y'all subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. This is not the complaining morning from me. We're going to get into a couple of things with regards to this show. And some things that you probably didn't expect me to talk about with regards to the show, I'm going to get into because they don't have necessarily to do with the episode, but they do. If you guys have not joined the community, after yesterday's episode, I did an after show that goes to our membership community. So if you guys are interested in that, I will also have the membership links down below because it's not necessarily the YouTube membership, but it is an off the platform membership. Let's get into the tea. So last night's episode was season 11, episode 25, Sisterhood of the Traveling Drama. The ladies return to LA. Brandi and Jackie question if they can put their differences aside. Jackie's talk show drama, dreams become reality. A new obstacle leaves Jennifer's wedding up in the air, and Brandi's marriage reaches a turning point. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, if I had to give this episode anything, I would probably give it an 8. Now, the reason why is because I'm looking at this as the season finale of what was, to me, one of the best seasons since Tammy Roman left the show. I just felt good about the season. It felt good. It felt like I was watching a very, very well-produced, good show. There were elements of this show, and I know that I use Selling Sunset as a metric for production quality a lot. There were elements of this show that felt Selling Sunset worthy in terms of the production value, and I love that, right? And I don't know why that show sticks out to me. I think it's a great show. I mean, I watch it whenever it comes out, but I don't recap it. But I do love the show, right? And I think that the way that they are starting to capture Basketball Wives is in that vein. So I'm appreciative of that because I think that Selling Sunset has some of the highest quality editing on television. But I think that may have something to do with also Netflix and the way they film their shows. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is I love it. But with regards to this episode, I have to give it an 8. And let me tell you why. And this is probably an unexpected reason for many of you. But, for me, there was a plot thread that I felt like they added to the mix late in the game, and that is Laura Govan. And whether or not you enjoyed Laura's brief presence on the show, it was impactful. Impactful enough that it felt like there was a whole story that was centered around her with regards to a caption from Shawnee's new book being brought up at the table, an audio of Shawnee reading the excerpt being played for the ladies, and the ladies asking and questioning who it's about, and Laura saying, I think it was about me. Don't nobody ask me about it. I ain't talking about it. I'm grown, and I will have those conversations because I did love Shawnee. So with that being said, when we get back to LA from the trip, we don't see Laura no more in this episode. So I'm certain that they probably had her for a 2 or 3 episode deal or whatever like that, which is also okay. It's fine. You don't want to pay her that much. You want to give her a little bit of, but to use her as a plot point and not finish the plot, to me, I don't like that. Because I think that what we had here was an opportunity in this episode to get either to a place of closure or tiptoe into some closure for next season. And maybe that's what they're doing. But we get back. Jennifer's like, I haven't heard from Laura. I'm assuming she needs her space. The last we see of Laura was last episode, and at the beginning of this episode is the fight from last episode. So to not see her at all, I at least unless I blinked and missed her as the ladies were jetting back to LA, I was just kind of like, okay, I mean, what we doing? So we got Shawnee coming to LA for a book signing. Well, Laura said in the previous episode that she would have the conversation with Shawnee. Since this whole thing was brought up, it was about Shawnee's book, unless this was just another plot point to sell Shawnee's book. Then I just kind of feel like y'all should have had Shawnee and Laura meet up to have this conversation. That has been over some decades, some time in the making, okay? Since season 1 of Basketball Wives Miami. This conversation has been a long time coming, and to preface it in a previous episode and to not deliver on that promise took what could have been the greatest of endings to just okay, right? So there was a missed opportunity there to have a sit down between Laura and Shawnee. Granted, here's the thing. I am sure Shawnee is well beyond this. I'm sure Laura is well beyond it. And we may never know what ultimately really went down. But what we do know is, unless you read Shawnee's book, okay, shameless plug, and I ain't mad at it. But I do think that with regards to the story, it's not complete to me. And I'm not here for incomplete storytelling in my books, in Shawnee's book, or in the world of reality TV. Okay. So we like to complete a plot thread. And when we don't get it, it feels unsatisfying to us. And the reason I think that this conversation could have been had is because I feel like both of the women are in completely different places in their lives at this point. Shawnee is no longer with Shaquille O'Neal. She is a full married lady. She's a first lady at this point now. And Laura, I'm sure, has completely moved on with her life as well. Both of them have benefited from this show. So if you're going to approve her to be on the show, and I don't know if Shawnee did or not, because I don't know if she got that type of power like that, then I do feel like a conversation needs to be had. And if y'all don't have it next season, I mean, this was a waste. And that's just that. I mean, I like Laura, and I felt like she added some extra chaos to the mix. But if you're not going to fulfill on the promise of a story, then don't tell me the story. Okay. Now, let's get into the actual episode itself. I mean, we start with the continuation of, Brandi versus Jackie. And, it essentially is, the Fox Force 5, which is, Basketball Wives is sort of version of the Beverly Hills Fox Force 5. If you know, you know. Okay. What that is the core group of ladies that the show is really focusing on, and that is Jacille, that is Evelyn, that is Brandi, that is Brooke, and that is Evelyn. Okay. I think I said Jennifer, Evelyn, Jacille, Brandi, Brooke. I think I got that's the 5, right? Okay, cool. So anyway, listen, my matcha ain't hit yet. So they kind of just recap the evening, and Brooke wanted to stand up for Brandi, because she felt like Dr. Cheyenne was getting involved. Brandi is still upset about how badly it hurts every time one of the ladies who she thinks are her friends brings up her husband's infidelities. I still go back to why you have to tell us it was 350. Like, it is that amount that I think makes it so crazy for people. But regardless, I don't think that they should be throwing it in her face every 5 minutes. I mean, you can pick a number. If you can't pick another insult, that means you ain't really got much ammunition. Okay. So to me, it's low hanging fruit. And I do feel like I'm beyond tired of them bringing it up. But it seems like it is affecting Brandi and her healing a lot more than maybe she normally would have if she was not on the show. Because I don't think anybody will be coming for her marriage like that. So it makes her think about, where she wants to be within this marriage at this point in time. And it's obviously leading to separation. which we'll get to in a minute. But before we do that, we get back to LA, and Brandi is having her event, her charity event, and it's a basketball tournament of sorts, along with heart screenings, and she is trying to raise some money for this charity. Now, listen, I am not in nobody's pockets, okay? If this were any other show, the amount of money expected to be raised, I would have expected to be higher. I would have expected this amount to be higher on this show. So Brandi is hopeful to raise $5,000 for this charity. Now, personally speaking, with the way that we have come to look at these women on these shows, and I see designer bags, I see Gucci bags, I see designer labels all over the place. Y'all could have sold an item and donated $1,000 each. I saw each of them ladies donating, and at that point, they had still only raised $2,500. Now, to me, again, if y'all on this show and we doing it for charity, and we gonna floss like we got these lifestyles, and I don't know if it's flossing or not. I mean, and again, these ladies could be pinching their pennies, which I don't blame them. Inflation is real. But what I will say is that I would have expected $1,000 each from each of those ladies, personally speaking. I just would have. Again, like I said, with all the designer, I mean, unless y'all borrowing, and these fashions ain't really yours, okay? Which we know is typical. That happens, right? And it's rightly so. You're on a reality TV show. You probably don't want to wear the same outfit more than once. So of course, you probably have a stylist. You want to have these outfits ready and whatnot and woo-de-woo. But if you could pay the stylist, I mean, come on now. I would have expected $1,000 for each lady. So anyway, Jackie shows up to the event like nothing has happened in Mexico. And eventually they do have a conversation. It's very light. It's very much we basketball sisters, and everything I said, I didn't mean, I'm sorry. And it's just like all is forgiven. Listen, 9 times out of 10, I am with the moving on factor, because I do not like things. The show becomes stale when people can't move on. And it may seem fun for a minute, or like, ooh, they're about to get into it again. But after a while, it becomes draining. However, Comma.org, I just felt like Brandi got over that thing quick, okay, for her to have been so hurt enough to now want a separation. So they move on, and, the basketball tournament commences. Everybody shows up, and, Brandi asked the girls to all wear their jerseys. And Jennifer's like, I mean, it doesn't really go with my outfit. Can I just pay, my money? And then proceeds to pull out the phone. But in my calculations, by the time they had done that first round of donation lookup, and it was only at $2,500, I was expecting Jen herself to have donated at least $1,000, based on the way you riding around in this Rolls Royce, dripped in Chanel furs and blankets and Diamondells and whatever else. Got the wet. I mean, I understand you got a wedding in Paris that you got to pay for, but I mean, if you're too good to even wear the jersey for the event, okay, and you're basically saying, I want to pay instead of wearing, I'm expecting you to pay top dollar, babe. I really am, because otherwise you could have put that jersey on. Anyway, moving on. Christian is also playing in the tournament. I don't know that basketball is his ministry, but at least he was there to support, along with Brandi's husband. He was there. Jackie is, rushing through this thing. She has got to catch a flight back to Sacramento, because she's like, I don't need to be here, but I'm showing good faith with y'all. And then we have, at the end of the event, they have raised $5,000. I was like, ooh. I mean, Brandi just made her goal. Girl, you could have donated. I would have donated an extra 10. I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't know how much these women get paid for this show. So it's very difficult for me to say. And then with taxes and attorney's fees and management and makeup and hair and makeup and all this other stuff like that, renting clothes and buying clothes or whatever you do, maybe you're not getting that much money at the end of the day. But doggone it, if you're going to be raising money for a charity and you're going to put that thing on national TV, your minimum wish list should be at least $10,000. And if don't nobody else help make it, then you need to be prepared to make it, in my opinion. But that's just me because I want to see fabulosity. When I don't see fabulosity, and now that I think that y'all can't afford it, I'm looking at y'all like y'all the people down the street. So anyway, and that's no shade to the people down the street. What I'm saying is, I want to see beyond the gates, okay? As Nene Leak says, I want to see beyond the gates. And people beyond the gates is donating lots of money. Now, when I turn on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I'm seeing these women, and they are donating, you know, $5,000 each or more. So I just would have hoped for more for this particular charity. But listen, they're going to be able to do a lot with that money. So I'm not hating. And I know I probably sound, you know, bourgeois as I'm talking about this, but we're talking about the magic of reality TV and what we would normally typically see and what I wanted to see and expected, and how disappointed I was that she barely made that. Moving on, at the end of the event, she does tell Jason, yeah, we're not good, but we'll talk about it later. Thanks for being here. Okay, so next, Jennifer and Christian have to go see his probation officer. Is it probation officer or parole officer? I don't know. Let me put the alleged badge because I don't want to get it wrong, and then the people be coming after me. I'm still fresh from my Law and Order SVU University degree, so don't hold me to nothing I say that might be wrong or incorrect. Okay, based on my assumptions or my guesses or my business or my just inferences from what I see from the show. So essentially she goes, and the cameras are not allowed into the meeting space. This is to see, you know, what the situation is at this point in time, because they have a wedding coming up in Paris. Spoiler alert, they do get married in Paris, and it happened on the 14th. But anyway, in this point of the show, it is questionable whether or not he will be able to travel out of the country. Now, at this point, if I'm filming the show, and I understand. When Jesus say yes, nobody can say no. So if you got an idea in your head, okay, about what you want to do, and you want to manifest that mother trucker, then you go ahead and plan for the best, right? You plan for the best case scenario. You don't think about, well, what if things go wrong? You think about how many ways things can go right. So, Miss Jennifer Williams, I don't blame you for necessarily wanting to, if you had your heart's desire set on getting married in Paris, whether this man could travel or not, I guess you was gonna be at the altar by yourself if nothing else worked. But at the end of the day, we thank God that the man was able to make it, and now he just need to get back and do the rest of his, the time that he needed to do, so you guys can maybe go on a real honeymoon. I don't really know. What I do know is that what he thought was going to be the outcome was not the outcome. There is an extra year on this whole situation that he, I guess, has to meet with these people. I really wasn't understanding it. But the way this meeting went, it makes me question when he's having these meetings, is he having an attorney there with him? Because when he's leaving the meetings, he had a different impression from what impression he had the last time he met with them. So that leads me to wonder, do you have someone there who is advocating for you? Are attorneys, again, I'm still learning from my Law and Order SVU University degree, but is he still, are attorneys allowed in this meeting space with the officers and with the court? It would seem like you would have somebody there with you who is able to interpret things and ensure that you have things well understood, that things don't randomly change, who is advocating on your behalf. And maybe he does, and it's just not working out correctly. But that is very confusing to me, how you never seem to know what you're able to do. Like, you don't know if you can travel out of the country. So you travel out of the country. Jennifer posts you on the gram. Now you get in trouble. You had an idea of what was supposed to happen for the next year or two, and then that changes in this meeting. Why is nothing consistent? So it's just very difficult for me to explain. I think that this whole situation with Jennifer, for me, is a situation where I want to see Jennifer happy. I think she deserves it. I still remember Eric throwing that glass in her face, and I felt like he popped her in the face with that glass of wine or whatever he threw at her. And just remembering that moment and then thinking about all of the relationships that she has had since then, and maybe some that we don't know about, but I want this woman to have her happily ever after. I do. And we have to also remember that a red flag for you and me may not be a red flag for the next person. Okay. So, my hope is that all of this waiting around and this working with him through the system works to her benefit at some point, and he's able to finally move beyond all of this, because ultimately it sounds like Jennifer is looking for a happily ever after any way that she can find it. And I'm not saying anything negative about the guy. I'm simply saying that he comes with a lot, okay? And if she's prepared to deal with the amount that he comes with, then she's going to have to weather the storm at this point. And may God bless her on her journey. That's all I can really say. With that being said, we move on next to Jackie in this talk show. Now, this talk show is very interesting to me because, again, it's Jackie, so it's funny. I recognize a couple of people who were either in the audience or who were working on the production. So shout out to them. And I just want to say that it was hilarious to me. It was funny. It was full of Jackie isms. You know what I'm saying? It was wild. It was unexpected. She did have some actual guests. And the alpaca is honestly what I have been waiting to see all season. You know what I'm saying? So it gave what it needed to give. But I am curious now as to what was the downfall with her working with Sunday on this production. Wouldn't it have been an interesting thing to see them try to work through the details of a Jackie Christie production? Or maybe it was supposed to be Jackie and Sunday at the time. Did Jackie maybe want it to just be about her? Did production want it to maybe just be about her? What was the scenario that caused the breakdown of this relationship such that we now end up with just Jackie working on the show? Because listen, a lot of times when you're working on projects, two heads can be better than one. So I need to know what happened that led to the breakdown in communication and the shift from working together in this partnership to maybe not so much. Because wouldn't it also have been also more interesting to see it play out on television than to have to wonder about it? Because we know that there's beef with Sunday because it's been brought up on the show, but we don't know what the why. And I'm curious as to what happened. So, and that's just me. I can't help it. When I'm looking at story, I'm looking at storytelling, I'm looking at story completion, and you can't skip over these glaring holes in story. You just can't. It's a glaring hole to me. So, the next thing is we get to Brandi and her conversation in her apartment or rental or whatever the case may be with Jason. And she basically tells him, listen, I'm going to take my son and I am going to stay here in LA for a while and I'm going to work on this movie and I don't want you here. Because every time these women have an issue with me, they throw up your past in my face as if it has anything to do with me. So, as a result, I will not be needing your services here any longer. You may go back to Dallas or to Texas, somewhere, wherever you go, and you may do that while I figure out my life. Essentially, that's what she tells him. And he's like, so I don't really have any say in this. Because at first it sounded like he was willing to try to alter his plans to be there. And I have to wonder, is this for show? Because I don't know where Brandi is now. Looking on her Instagram, it's very hard to say, and I'm not stalking it every day, so I don't know. I only looked at it the other day to see if she was at Jennifer's wedding, and it looked like she was at doing the soccer mom type gig. So, but I couldn't tell if that was LA or if that was Dallas. So who knows? So I will be interested in seeing the follow up on this when we have the reunion to see where they are at this point in time. Here's where I am with Brandi and Jason. I want Brandi to be happy. If her marriage makes her happy, I am not here to judge her on this man's past mistakes. The moment that she has chosen to forgive him is the moment that I feel like we all have to really move on. It's none of our business at that point. You know, the only thing that we can say is, as a friend, you want to just see your friend happy, right? But if you feel like your friend is unhappy, then that's a different story. So if the marriage is making her unhappy, and it sounds like there are other issues at play here, like some other problems, then I think that the best thing for her to be would be to have a bit of separation to figure out where she needs to go. So we'll have to see how that plays out at the reunion, maybe, or hopefully they address it. Evelyn continues. I guess she's gonna be doing some sting operations. I don't know what that lady showed her about in the little basket that I guess investigators need. I don't know if this whole thing was for story. Are we gonna see Evelyn, you know, with her own caught in the act show? Is that where this is leading? I'm just curious as to where are we going with this next season. I don't want it. If this was a hit it and quit it type of situation, I'm not here for it. I want the real deal. If this is what you're doing, if you're trying to be on your mini Kim Kardashian, get your be the baby lawyer. I don't know what it is. Get your your law and order degree from SVU degree like I did. And then that's fine. But I just want to see that it is just more than for this season. Okay. And then why is it okay for Evelyn to be the investigator, but when Vanessa was the investigator, it was a problem? Likely because Vanessa was the new girl and nothing really hinged on the new girl, but things do hinge on Evelyn, who is a mainstay on this show. So that sounds like it's the big difference. Okay. But with that being said, that was the episode, y'all. I thought that this reunion discussion was going to be about 10 minutes long, but here we are. The reunion looks like it's going to be juicy. I'm interested to see the twist, which is, it sounds like there's going to be some audio played of the women talking about Jennifer's relationship that is going to be played for her. I'm happy that Nina Parker is back because I feel like she has the perfect balance of seriousness with funny reactions. You know, I don't like John Sally. It didn't work for me when Mark Lamont Hill did it. Was it Mark Lamont Hill? I can't. Who did it? Who else did it? Y'all remind me in the chat because I can't even recall at this point. Again, my matcha hasn't hit, so we're gonna have to work on that. But I like Nina doing it. Period. All right. Or I would have been interested in seeing Tamar back. But you know, Tamar got her own things going on right now. So there's that. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comment section down below. Trust, I do see all of the things that are going on with the Diddy situation right now. I think we all saw a lot of this coming, and I don't think that there's much surprise behind any of it. So, you know, the severity of the issue for me in and of itself, I don't even know where to go with it, man. You think about the people that have been affected by it. That's where my mind goes. And that's just bothersome to me because I'm sure these people have been having to live with this, these situations that they've been through at the mercy of this person and associates. And it's just, it's devastating to me. So that's difficult for me. All right. So that's all I got for y'all today, or in this moment. I have a lot of other work to do today. Yeah. So listen, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Hit that notification bell button. Make sure you guys check out the merch, latenightcravings.com. It is open. There will be more drops coming soon. But with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video.